All right. All right, everyone. Thank you for coming. We will start the March 17th, 2022 Newport Beach Planning Commission meeting, St. Patrick's Day. And we will start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. And we will let our Commissioner Ketting lead that today with his bright green.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll move on to roll call.
All commissioners are present this evening.
All right, thank you. All right, we're going to go ahead and move on to public comments. Item 4, I just want to let everyone know that item number, for public hearing items, item number 4 was removed from the agenda item. So if there was any comments in respect to item number 4, residential care facilities ordinance update, this would be the time you'd make those comments, just since that is no longer on the agenda. Yes. Yeah, since it's removed from the agenda. So if you'd like to make comments on anything that is not currently on the agenda, now's the time.
Chair Lowry, members of the commission, my name is Jim Mosher. This is not a comment about agenda item 4. It actually is a comment, I think, about possibly agenda item 7, which is the director's report. But you don't usually ask for public comment on that, so I'm making the comment now. And the comment is that at your last meeting, you approved the plans for a somewhat controversial project on Ocean Boulevard. And I was curious, as I assume you might be curious, what the fate of that decision was. The reason I'm asking is that involved a coastal development permit, and I'm not sure you're aware of this, but if the 14-day appeal period expires without an appeal being filed, then the city staff sends a notice of your action to the Coastal Commission, and they put it on their website for another 10-day appeal period. And I did not see it show up there, so I'm wondering if it got appealed to the city council locally or got lost in the shuffle somewhere. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments, public comments? Looks like there's none. We'll go ahead and close that. Our staff, if they have any update there, just.
Certainly, Chair Lowry. That project was, an appeal was filed for that project, hence why there was no notice of final action.
Okay.
So at this point, we don't have a schedule for when that would appear before the city council, but at this point, looks likely it'll go to the city council.
Okay, thank you. All right, seeing there's no more further public comments, we'll go ahead and go for requests for continuances.
There are no requests for continuances this evening.
Great, we'll go ahead and move on. We'll go ahead and move on to the consent items for this evening. And I don't know if there's any commissioner that wants to separate those or just completely. The consent items we have? All items, item number 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, and the minutes as well. And so yeah, usually consent items, I mean, usually all together, correct? I mean, that's how.
In the city council it is. In this, it took me a while to get adjusted, but typically at the planning commission level, we take the minutes, and then for the encroachments, we would take those individually, but.
Oh, okay, if that's, yeah, I've just seen them where it's usually done all together, but if not, we can take them individually, that's fine. So we'll just go ahead and move to item number 1 on consent.
I'll make a motion of for the minutes with Mr. Mosher's edits.
I'll second.
Right.
The motion carries unanimously.
All right, we'll move on to item number 2, AMS Trust Encroachment, PA 2022-007. If there's any comment?
Could I? Sure. Yeah, staff, I went out there and found the place, talked to the assistant
general contractor about it, and I was surprised at how far along this had gone in construction to then realize, oops, we got a problem. And how was that brought up? Did an inspector see it, or?
It may have been the inspector who saw it. Typically, we do the encroachment permit with a building permit of this magnitude in advance if they're looking to retain the existing structures in the right-of-way. In this case, it just happened the opposite. So our routine is to do it at the time of building permit issuance. But in this case, it just didn't. So we're dealing with it today.
Okay, thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve the item.
I'll second that one.
I just want to confirm there weren't any members of the public that wanted to speak on that one?
It's on consent. Sometimes I've seen them where they don't. So on consent, we also do public just as normal. Okay, so we'll open for public comments if there is any public comments on item number 2. Looks like there is not any. So we'll go ahead and close that and we'll continue on with the motion.
The motion carries unanimously.
Right, thank you. And we'll move on to the last one on the consent items. Item number 3, Barker encroachment PA 2022-031. Anyone any questions for staff? Yeah.
Sorry, I saw the photographs, I read the report, went out there and looked at it. I'm trying to figure out, staff, is the masonry block wall the issue? It looks like it's been there quite a while.
Yes, that's correct. It's the wall and the planter and then the staircase that comes through into the public right-of-way, all the features that are in the public right-of-way here.
So how was this one flagged?
I honestly don't have the answer to that
Okay.
question, and we don't have anyone from Public Works here this evening.
And it appeared that the gravel, rock in that area and the stairwell itself, is that all going to be redone?
To my knowledge, no. That kind of ground cover, if you will, is allowable under the existing council policy and really isn't part of the deviation from the council policy.
All right.
Really, only improvement that's going to occur here is a landing below the staircase. So there'll be a
Right.
landing that's extended, so it makes the staircase a little safer as it hits the curb. But beyond that minor improvement to what's there today, we're simply asking to retain what's there today.
And Commissioner Ketting, I'm sorry. Over here, sorry. As far as finding out this issue came to the city for permitting of a separate remodel, a separate project, and in staff's review of that separate project at the primary house.
Flagged it.
Correct. Through the GIS.
Is the rickety wood railing going to be replaced in that? Does anybody know?
It's not. It's an encroachment and it's not being replaced now.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions for staff? Looks like there's none, so we'll go ahead and open it for public comments on this item. No public comments, so we'll go ahead and close that. And if someone would like to make a motion, we'll move forward.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
The motion carries unanimously.
All right, thank you. All right, we'll move on to our public hearing items. As we stated earlier, item number 4 has been removed from the agenda. And so we'll move on to item number 5, annual general plan progress. Sure. Yes. Sure.
Should we make comments now or hold them till the next time it comes through?
I will,
I would
that
say
one
it
to
would be
Jim.
best to hold the comments until the future public hearing. So the plan will be to do some additional outreach with the community, hold a public meeting, and then we'll re-agendize this and we'll have a public hearing in the future. We just don't know when that will be, so best to hold it till then.
Fine, I'll hold them.
all right. So we'll move on to item number 5 there, the annual general plan progress report, PA 2007-195. And Melinda, looks like you're up.
Good evening, Chairman, Commissioners. Melinda Whalen, Planning Division. The state mandates an annual report on the city's progress in implementing the general plan. The report follows Office of Planning and Research guidance and reports on the previous calendar year, 2021. It includes status and progress along with overviews of general plan implementation programs, housing element program, and report summaries. Compliance with OPR's guidelines for general plans and identifies future updates along with priorities for land use decision-making. The general plan was last updated in 2006, and all of the elements are due for an update. The housing element I will discuss more later. There's substantial progress with completed programs such as the comprehensive zoning code update and subsequent code maintenance, along with ongoing tasks and long-term coordination efforts. A comprehensive update was initiated in 2019, and the update will follow the state guidelines, including new topics of environmental justice and climate change. So this slide provides a status on the general plan update. City Council directed focus to the housing element and circulation elements. The City Council adopted the updated housing element, and it is submitted to HCD. The city anticipates comments from HCD in April, and will go back to the City Council for study session. The circulation element will begin with public hearings anticipated in summer 2022. And the appointment of the General Plan Update Steering Committee will be scheduled soon, and activity plan for years 22 and 2024 include land use element updates to reflect the housing element update, and then remaining elements updated for internal consistency and state law following latest OPR guidelines. So one highlight of general plan implementation is our tracking of the general plan development limits and amendments on our public website. And here's an example from our public website showing Newport Center, including the residences at Newport Center, which was a 28-unit condominium project approved in 2021. The annual report also includes very specific requirements from the State Department of Housing and Community Development, including data tables that are required to be on HCD spreadsheets that report on housing activity for 2021. These forms are available in the link provided in the staff report. Included is Table A2, which reports on net new units of approved entitlements, building permits issued, and building permits finalized. The building permits issued funnel into counting towards our regional housing needs allocation from the state. And that is shown in Table B. So for 2021, it's a little different. The building permits that were issued in the second half of the year will be saved and counted towards the new sixth RENA cycle. So they all are not reflected in this Table B. Another highlight of the housing programs is the partnership between the city and Costa Mesa for the bridge shelter in Costa Mesa. The city has 20 of the 70 beds for use in the facility that opened in spring 2021. The facility also includes caseworkers that provide support services, and the shelter and homeless efforts in 2021 have many success stories that are provided in the staff report. Another highlight of housing program implementation is the accessory dwelling units. The ordinance for accessory dwelling units has been updated to meet current state law. And in 2021, there were 35 ADUs submitted, and there were 50 ADUs permitted and completed. 20 of them were at the Coronado Apartments, and many of these will be saved and counted towards the unmet RENA in the next sixth cycle. And then another project to highlight is the residences at Newport Center. It was a converted commercial to residential and includes 28 condominiums. And then another new project is the residence at 1300 Bristol Street, which is 193 apartment units, including 24 affordable units. And this slide summarizes the next steps for the housing element update and moving forward. In April, we anticipate the determination letter from the Department of Housing and Community Development. And then the city will go back to the City Council for a study session on the comments. That concludes my presentation. I'm available for questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any questions for Melinda? Okay.
Sorry, one question, maybe more of a clarification. The 28 units in Fashion Island, the condos, how did that affect the arena numbers or the low-income units?
Those were all, those 28 units were above moderate units.
Okay.
Have a car wash?
Any other questions?
So Commissioner Elmore, so one thing to note of this, this project had a development agreement and the applicant paid in lieu fees for affordable housing. So there's going to be funds that's going to go into a pot where the city will collect affordable housing fees and later use them for affordable housing purposes.
All right. Peter?
Staff, on ADUs, is there a requirement for very low, low, or mod? Or is it, if Commissioner Wygan built an ADU in his front yard, would he could do it market rate?
Yes, he could. There's not a requirement for, okay.
There you go.
All right.
If I had the land.
Any other questions?
Chair Lowry, I might want to add, you saw the production of about 50 units in this last calendar year, which is actually pretty good. Within the housing element, our anticipation over the next 8 years is to produce 240. Originally we wanted to go in with 1,000, and the state said, no, that's too aggressive. But within the first year, we've got 50 that we can count towards meeting our arena goal. So that's good. That's a good start in the first year, and we hope that will grow over time, because the policies of the housing element do suggest that we do further things to incentivize that construction. But those units do count towards some of them may be affordable and some of them won't be, but we do get to take credit for those, and so I think that's a good start.
Thank you.
Jim, fellow of ADUs again. Are there any built and final and people living in them? We could go by and look at them, how it turned out?
Yes, there are some that are built and finalled and occupied. Can we go by and look at it? Well, only with the property owner's permission at this point.
Well, no, just a drive-by. I'd love to, so I can call you and get a list. I'm curious how it came out, setbacks and the whole thing.
Sure, certainly. As Melinda indicated, 20 of the units are in the Coronado Apartments. That building actually existed before that permit, and it was not used for residential purposes. And so they basically renovated an interior, so the building is still there. And we can point that out to you. We can drive by on, it's right across the street from Newport Harbor High School. The ones at the single-family homes throughout the community, the other, 30 of them, I think it is. Some may be visible from the street, some not. So I'd have to go look and find some addresses for you, or you'd have to contact a property owner. So
Thank you.
And Jim, we have our GIS mapping. I think that's available in the public.
now that's a good point. If you go to the city's website, we do track these very, very well. So on the search bar, you can type in ADUs, and we actually have a tool, a mapping tool. You can see where they all are, and actually that will be a good resource for you. And I'm happy to send you that link if you like, but it's available for the public to look at.
Commissioner Rosie?
Does that list of ADUs include JADUs, or do we track those separately?
It includes JADUs as well.
Any other questions for staff before we move to public comments? Okay. Seeing that there are none, we will go ahead and move and open up the public comments section. If anybody would like to come and speak?
Chair Lowry, if I might, one more item that I think we didn't indicate in the presentation is that we will be taking this to the City Council next week for their review on the 22nd. Right? Is it on the 22nd? Yes, it is.
Yes.
The report needs to be submitted to the state by April 1st, and we pride ourselves on being on time. So I just want to point that out for you and the public.
That was a big task to get.
Thank you.
Thank you again, Chair Lowry, members of the commission, and my name again is Jim Mosier. The first comment I would make, if anybody from the state actually tries to drive by the Coronado Apartments to look at where the new ADUs might be going, they will discover that it's no longer called the Coronado Apartments. It has a new name. So the report might perhaps be updated to have the correct name for that apartment complex, which is one of the largest in Newport Beach. The main comment I wanted to make, and actually only comment, is a brief one on handwritten page 27. There's a write-up about the implementation program 10.2 and our progress on that. The implementation program has to do with developing a tracking and monitoring program for development in the city. The city staff has done many fine things. We've heard that people can look online and see where ADUs are being developed. And I think, as I pointed out to you before, it's not mentioned here. And I don't know if it happened in the last year, but the city staff has gone to some effort to put online in a place where the public can see it all the application submittal materials. So if you go either to the case log or the interactive map and discover the PA numbers that are attached to every agenda item, before it even becomes an agenda item, you can go and see the application that has been filed and the correspondence and so forth, back and forth between the applicant and the city staff, which is great. My comment, though, is on the specific, what was anticipated in the general plan. And you'll see on this page under this topic, there's 3 paragraphs. The second 2 have links to where the public can access the information. The first 2 is about the city's longstanding effort to document the existing development in the city. And notably, that does not have a link after it. And it's been long promised, but as far as I know, not yet delivered, that the city would be developing a system where the public, from the comfort of their home online, could see in any statistical area of the city how the existing development compared to the current limits in the general plan, which is different than the tracking that Melinda showed you there. Obviously, not every parcel is developed to the absolute limit that it could be, and so cumulatively over a statistical area, there's a shortfall between what the current development is and what the limit is. So apparently staff has developed something internally. The question would be, has there been any progress on a way to make that accessible to the public without having to come in and ask the staff about it? Thank you.
Thank you. Any other further public comments? Doesn't look like we have any, so we'll go ahead and close up public comment section. And does staff any updated comments or anything along those lines?
Certainly. We'll obviously make sure we don't refer to the Coronado Apartments. That's just colloquially what we all know it to be, but apologize for that. On Mr. Mosher's comment about the tracking tables, we gave you a little quick snapshot of what we're doing, and I think we've done a very good effort there. Now, on the existing development database, that's a very challenging database because it's dynamic. Every building permit we issue starts to add to it, and so integrating our building permit database with GIS has been kind of an issue for us, and so we've got more work to do. We've been focusing our attention on implementing a new land management system, which will replace our permit system, and so the functionality of that we hope will assist us in making this information public. Obviously the information is public, but in a readily digestible form, as Mr. Mosher indicated. The other challenge is that some of the older permits, we don't have solid data on every single building permit that was issued out of the 30s and 40s and 50s, and so there's some challenges with the database where there's some lacking information. And so with that caveat, coupled with the dynamic nature of the permitting, is the reason why serving that up to the public, we haven't done that quite yet.
Thank you.
But we are still continuing to work on it, though, of course.
Well, I think it's a very robust system. It's a lot of good information there from what I've read about it. So we'll go ahead and bring it back up to the commission. If anyone has any additional questions to staff or discussion amongst ourselves.
Chairman, staff, either one of you, what's going on with the challenges in Sacramento? I know there were 2 lawsuits lost by various communities. I understand that there are more attempts. Do we know anything about those?
Is this related to the housing element
Right.
and the
Well,
RENA,
not
or-
the entire element, but for the mandatory.
I don't have an update on those lawsuits.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Any other additional questions or comments? None? Okay. Anyone like to entertain a motion or propose a motion? Anybody?
A motion.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the plan report PA 2007-195 as drafted.
All right.
I'll second.
Thank you.
The motion carries unanimously.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Melinda. Appreciate it. We'll go ahead and move on to staff and item 9, staff and commissioner items. And under that section, item number 6, motion for reconsideration. I don't believe there's any, so we'll move on to item number 7, which is a report by Community Development Director or request for matters which a planning commissioner member would like to be placed on a future agenda. We'll go with, yeah.
I'll go and start that report, and it'll be a brief one. So we've got our future tentative agenda here. So on April 21st, we've got 3 items coming forward to the city council. We don't have any items for April 7th, so we will go ahead and cancel that meeting. And then when we look forward to May, we are looking to cancel May 5th as well, based on the lack of cases. And then Ms. Yolanda being at a conference. So we think that's appropriate. On May 19th, you'll see there for the Planning Commission, we do need to make a date change because it conflicts with the Mayor's Dinner, the annual Speak Up Newport Mayor's Dinner. And I know several commissioners and staff like to attend that. So we want to, I did send out an email to poll you folks about possible other dates. And I throw you a little bit of a curveball here. We'd actually like you to consider May 12th. So I don't know if you have your calendars handy. We're looking for May 12th at this point in time. And we have 2 items on the agenda, and possibly one of the items from April 21st might get moved backward to that agenda item, but we've got those projects. So if May 12th works, we'd like to schedule that.
Speak for myself, I'm clear.
Yeah, I can make that. And that would be the only meeting in May anyway, right?
It would be the only meeting in May, yes.
That's fine by me as well.
That work? Okay. 1, 2, 3. Sarah's good. Peter? Not sure? Okay. Okay, thank you.
All clear.
Mark's clear?
All right.
Okay. Looks like we're going to have 6 members. Peter? Let me know. Fair enough, fair enough. Somebody's got to go to Hawaii. It might need to be you, I understand.
We can move the meeting there.
Certainly. And that actually concludes my director's report.
All right, great.
On the April 21st meeting, the appeal is of the decision by the ZA, correct? Or is that appealing?
That's an appeal of the the zoning administrator's approval of that minor
They
use permit.
approved it and then he's appealing, or whoever it is.
So
Okay,
we
cool.
have an interested party appealing that case.
Thank you.
The other 2 are just new applications for your consideration.
On the same agenda, Lita House expansion, we were just there recently. Generally, what are they going to do?
But most of it has to do with the old fire station site. So the city is
Oh, in the
nearing
back.
completion of the new fire station down further on the peninsula. And so the city is looking to potentially lease the property to R.D. Olson, and then they're looking to expand the hotel. I think 5 villas, additional villas, changing the parking lot, maybe a few other small additions. So, and that's that.
All right, any other questions for Jim? See none? Okay, we'll go ahead and move any for requests for excused absences from any commissioner. See none. Wow. Well, let's go ahead and, okay, well, we do have,
Don't
okay.
wrap it yet.
You almost had a second.
I have a question that the chairman will probably be able to answer, but staff as well. I walk the dog early in the morning, and I know when it's 7 o'clock because the planes are taking off. And they seem to be louder and closer to my neighborhood than going over the bay, did they switch their flight patterns?
It
Very noisy.
They have the choice, and it depends. So, I mean, there's a couple different ways that they can go now. So, I know it's
You live there.
I know, yeah, I know. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Okay, I think it's getting louder and louder, so.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Seeing that there's questions, we'll go ahead and adjourn at 7:02. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I'll have to do it again. There we go. 7:02. Yeah.